Hey everyone, it's yours truly, and I'm here to bring to you my Animal Kingdom Season 1, Episode 1 review. So, pretty much we begin this episode with the main character, Josh. Pretty much he's sitting on the couch watching Jeopardy, and his mom is OD'd on what I believe to be heroin. But it seems as though he's very nonchalant about it. Like this is the first time that she'd OD, whatever, so he's used to it. And we see the paramedics come in, check the pulse and all that shit. So the next scene we have Josh clean out his bowl, doing some geometry homework, and then he calls his grandmother. But his grandmother can't recognize his voice. And at first you're like, okay, why can't she recognize his voice? Turns out he hasn't seen her for the past decade or 11 years. So he lets her in on the news that his mother has died, she OD'd, and that, he needs essentially a place to stay. So we see his grandma. And by the way, his grandma is banging. Like, damn. But, they meet up and the situation, is kind of awkward. You could just tell so far with Jay's character that he's very quiet and introspective. And yeah, so they hug. It's kind of an awkward hug, like I said, because it's been a while. It's been like damn near a decade. So Jay's outside. I think he already has his stuff packed in his bike. So his grandma goes in, to get a few things or like look around the house, whatever. So it turns out, she takes a few of her daughter's clothes, which are kind of fucked up in my opinion. So while this is going on, while she's rummaging through, Jay encounters his mother's drug dealer, and the drug dealer is pissed because apparently Jay's mom owed him money, and she was a few days late. And Jay was able to, I think Jay was able to convince the guy to give a few more days, whatever, to give a few more days to come out with the money. And the guy sort of, he lets this happen because as soon as he sees Jay's grandma come down the stairs, he's like, damn. And, that kind of makes him sort of walk away. So the next scene, we see Jay's grandma pull up to his grandmommy's home. And what a home it is. That is a large fucking house, a big ass pool, like mad different fly ass cars and shit and Hummers, you know. And we see her sons, aka Jay's uncles. And once again, it's kind of awkward, you know, because they haven't seen each other in like 11 years. So pretty much they moved Jay's stuff into his house, not house, his room, whatever. They give him a little bit of money, and once again, once he sees the money, Jay's kind of like, wow, in a sense, through his body language. Like I believe Baz gave Jay, or it was probably Craig that gave Jay at least $300-400 for some shoes. That's it, just for some shoes. And even more for some clothes and all that crap, whatever. So what else happens after that? So after this scene, we have Jay's grandma speaking with the boys, whatever. And in this specific scene, we find out that they call her Smurf. That's her nickname essentially. Craig and Darren. Darren's the youngest, the blonde, and Craig's the biggest, the tall guy. He was actually in Vikings. I believe the actor's name is Ben Robinson. He played Calf. I was like, wow, from one good series to another. But yeah, so Craig doesn't really trust him. Neither does Darren. And it seems like the leader of the group is Baz, but Baz is kind of towing the line between, I don't trust the kid either. Then again, he seems like a good kid, as he says to Smurf. And Smurf says, listen, he's in because he's family, all right? And if you guys don't think he should be in it, then take him out, you know? And Darren's like, what? What you want us to do? Wants to take him out to IHOP and be like, hey, so are you going to snitch on us at any point in time soon? And Smurf tells Craig, listen, and to everyone else, once again, assess the situation. She looks at Craig. Are you too thick skulled for that? And she looks at Darren. Are you afraid that he's going to replace you as my favorite? And then she tells Baz, which is really hilarious, badass, and funny, that listen, if you want to be the leader of the group, stop being a little pussy and choose one side. You can't go back and forth. And then she once again, then she tells Craig, by the way, though, your little two dogs you brought from your house, you better clean their shit off my goddamn thing. Then right after that, the next scene, we have Jay looking pretty much around nighttime. He's looking at his phone. Well, it's not his phone. It was his mother's phone, if I remember correctly. And we still have that drug dealer from earlier in the episode constantly texting his mom saying, I need my money, bitch. I need my money, bitch. I need my money, bitch. So the next time this morning, we see Jay entering the kitchen. And we hear Baz and Darren talking about something, about some type of plan going about. But Jay gets in, they recognize, they recognize he's in, so they sort of stop talking about it ASAP. We see Smurf in a very revealing, you know, attire, especially for a woman her age, but damn, she does look good. Whatever. Pretty much saying to Jay, you hungry? And Jay's like, nah, I don't really want breakfast. You got any coffee? She's like, yep, it's over there. And then she has like a blender or whatever, blending shit, whatever, and it's causing like some the usual noise. And Craig can't stand this shit. Craig is literally just waking up or had a threesome the other night, and he throws a hissy fit. He's like, God damn, what have I told you about that goddamn blender? He said, I'm gonna break it, I'm gonna break it. And Baz and Darren's just like, oh, you're gonna break it with a hammer? Why don't you just throw it on the ground? Like, you know what I mean? Once again, they're so used to each other's antics. And Smurf's able to qualify by saying, listen, it was a present that you gave to me. And I appreciate it so much, baby. And then Craig's like, really? I did? I don't remember. She's like, you did. He's like, all right. I won't break it. And you just see Jay's face. Jay's face is like, what the fuck? That's one thing you like about Jay's character so far. This episode is the fact that he doesn't say much, but he says a lot through his body language, and just the expressions on his face. So I believe Jay wanted to go to school, but Smurf sort of talked him out of it, and he hung out with his uncles for the day, Craig and Darren. And once again, like when he came into their humble home earlier in the episode, it's like literally entering a new fucking land. You know what I mean? Like a different journey, a different platform and shit. You know, I mean, his apartment, no offense, him with his mom, like a shithole, whatever. And now he's literally running with I think he was in the car with Darren. Darren's like speeding down. You have Craig on his motorcycle doing tricks, whatever. They're in the they're surfing, and actually one thing we know about the surfing part is the fact that I believe Craig and Darren was kind of pissed off at this certain group of surfers because they were in their way, or as they said, was in their way or like their area, whatever. So Craig so kindly sort of fucked up the rotation when it came to that group of surfers, and they were kind of pissed. They're saying, "Listen, this is um, everyone's, water, place to surf and shit." Craig and Darren wasn't having it, and then the group left. They were like trailer park trash, whatever. So after that, we have literally, I believe Craig, Darren, and Jay were just they're at the car. Also, they've been chilling there for a while because they were eating chips and drinking beers, whatever. And Craig literally gave Jay a gun to show those group of dudes who's the king, pretty much to scare him off and shit. And it worked. And I believe I believe Craig and Darren did something when it came to like the cable wires that connected their surfboards to the top of their trucks, whatever, something along them lines. But Craig and Darren got some free surfboards and all that good shit. So after that, there was a party, pool party, a big pool party. And through this pool party, there's a few things established. Find out that Baz has a family, has a daughter, and has a wife. And apparently, the wife and Smurf do not get along at all. Smurf wanted the daughter to, or her granddaughter to go swimming, and her mother was like, nah, she can't. Smurf's like, listen, she's like fucking 6. She's not a fucking baby. You have to teach her to, you have to teach her how to swim sometime, and just a little bit of conflict of interest. It seems essentially. So apparently during this, Jay goes in his room, and we meet a very interesting yet creepy character in Pope. So Jay's getting ready. He turns his head and says, he's like, Jesus! Because Pope is like right there. You're like, what the fuck? Where the fuck he come from? And must scare the shit if Jay said anything, because Jay don't say shit. So if this dude freaked out, then he has like, damn, it must have been a freaky moment. So Pope's like, who are you? Jay's like, I'm Julia's son. And Julia, um, you know, Julia, Julia is pretty much Jay's mom. Smurf's, daughter, Laya, all that bullshit. So Pope's like, oh, she here? And Jay's like, no. And then we see Smurf coming to see what's wrong with Jay, whatever. And it seems as though as soon as Smurf sees Pope, there's a look of fear, trepidation on her face and in her eyes. And you're wondering, okay, what's so dangerous? What's so off about this character? He might be creepy, but what makes this character so dangerous that even Smurf, who seems to have the biggest balls out of the group so far this episode, what's so off about this dude that even Smurf's afraid of this guy? So the next scene, the family's all in the living room. We find out that Pope had served, I believe, 3 years out of a 6-year sentence over in prison, I believe. And it was because something along the lines of that, I don't know. I think he kind of saved Baz, but he took the blame for Baz, something along them lines, whatever. And the next scene after that, when it's just Pope, Smurf, Baz, and Baz's wife, a few things you notice. Baz's wife seems to be really uncomfortable with Pope's presence. Like there's some history between them. Pope doesn't trust Jay. And literally you have Baz, not Baz. Pope is bitching. Pope is like, where am I gonna sleep now? Huh? You gave Jay my room. Where am I gonna sleep on the fucking couch? Then I think he said after this, I might as well go back to I better go to my place. We find out that Baz and his wife sold the place, and Pope is pissed. Baz's like, listen, dude, we'll just find your new house. Don't make a big deal of it. So Pope's like, okay, whatevs. So after this, we have Jay going to his girlfriend's house. Girlfriend, banging. It's fucking hot as shit. Especially, I think she was smoking some good green, whatever, because she was feeling it. After their little sex thing, whatever, Jay tells her about his mother's death, whatever. What else happens after that? I believe the funeral happens. So the funeral for Jay's mom happens, and one of Jay's mom's friends pretty much warns Jay that that this family that he's about to enter, or he's already entered, is the reason why his mom ended up the way that she did. And although your mom was probably weak, she wasn't a bad person. She wasn't a coward. And this family is all to blame for it. So after that, we have a quick scene with Jay and his girlfriend once again on the beach. His girlfriend mentioned the fact that Jay didn't cry during the funeral. And she asked him why. Jay said, I just didn't want to cry, during the funeral. I just wanted to remain strong. So after that, we have this interesting scene, which I believe is going to end up sort of making Jay's current girlfriend, kind of him and her kind of have a little conflict straying away. Because it seems though Craig is starting to be a bad influence on her. He's paying her money just to shoot a shrimp in her mouth, whatever. Um, he's trying to offer her to smoke some coke, like to take some cocaine and shit, you know. And Jay's like, nah, man, she's good. And then Craig is like, I wasn't asking you, bro. I was asking the lady. And you could look at the look on her face, she said no, she was tempted. She was drawn into it. So I can see Craig being a negative influence further and further in the show, or quite possibly be the reason why her and Jay end up breaking up. But in terms of Jay and Baz, it seems as though Baz is going to be a very influential figure for Jay in the coming episodes. Baz and Jay talk about, I think Baz asks Jay, he's like, so, how are you in school? And Jay's like, I get by. He's like, well, that's good. Seemed like you're smart. Smurf said, pretty much graduate, bro. There's too many dropouts we have in this family, you know? And don't mind Pope. It takes a while, but eventually you go on his good side, you know? And we get on Pope's good side, you're a friend for life. So in regards to Pope, actually, I believe there was a few scenes with Jay that was kind of creepy. Actually, three, honestly. So Jay comes home early, and Pope says, me and your mom were twins. Me and her used to sleep in the same bed with each other, you know? So if anything you want to tell me, you want to speak, we can speak sometime. And Jay's just looking at this guy like, okay. Just like, what the fuck? I think even during that conversation, Pope mentioned how Jay's hair looked good, who cut his hair, and Jay mentioned his girlfriend, and then at some point later in the episode, while Jay and his girlfriend are like kind of sleeping on the couch, Pope takes Jay's girlfriend into Jay's room, begins to unbutton her pants, and you wonder, what the fuck is Pope gonna do? But luckily, Jay gets there just in time, and Pope says, you know what, man, she's really beautiful. You're so lucky. And then just leaves. You're just like, what the fuck? Like, Pope's weird, yo. But anywho, I believe after this very scene, Pope's talking to Baz. Baz says to Pope, you can't get into what we're about to do because you already served your time and you'll be, you know what I mean? And it'll be kind of easy. It'll be an easy, person to go to. So like this happened for the police, and Pope's like, dude, come on. I need the action. But I think Baz doesn't really budge, or they go ahead of Pope, essentially. So I believe Baz, Craig, and Darren, they go get some heroin addicts. They put them in their car, or in their truck, whatever. They lock them up somewhere, and they take another car, if I remember correctly, and they go rob a jewelry store, and they get about 100 grand's worth of watches. But apparently, Darren didn't look up the security map so well because the police security were right there at a part of their, like, when they're trying to leave that they weren't supposed to be. So Darren's just going through them essentially, and one of the police lunges on the side of the car door, and he actually crashes straight into a dumpster. That's the reason why he got off the car door. And one of the cops shoots at Darren and company, and one of the bullets actually goes straight through Craig's shoulder. So when it comes to Pope and Jay, Pope, essentially, it seems to me Pope is testing out Jay. especially in these instances. Pope has Jay essentially steal a Range Rover, if I remember correctly. And Jay is able to do it, but Jay gets caught by the owner of the car, and Jay gets the living shit beat out of him. And Pope is across the street. He watches it, then he gets a flashlight and beats the hell out of that dude, and pretty much gets the wallet out of that guy's pocket. Says, "I know where you live now. So if you ever try to come for the kid, you got to deal with me. I know where you live, motherfucker." So the dude's kind of scared shitless, like, okay, I'm good. I don't want to. I'm sorry. So Jay and Pope, they go back. Smurf notices the bruises on Jay's face. And Smurf says, listen, right, directly to Pope, don't have Jay do shit like this, all right? Without telling me. And then Pope's like, you want to play a game? And it's kind of weird because she's seen once again, it's the fear and like nervousness when it comes to him. So it gets to the point, it gets so fucking awkward and strange. Jay's like, stop it, let her go. And Pope looks at him, he's like, oh, so you think, you know what I mean? And Pope puts Jay in a headlock, but Jay ain't had like no bitch. Jay's still fighting back. And Pope eventually lets go. And Pope says, you passed, Jay. You passed. So this is gonna be interesting. This is very fucking interesting. It seems as though Pope is like I said before, he's trying to. I think it's more than him trying to have Jay earn like some trust with him, whatever. I think it's more so he's trying to teach Jay certain things in general when it comes to this family, but more so like I don't know, probably growing him to be like a protege or something. That's the way I viewed it to a certain extent. And I feel as though that's gonna be interesting because it seemed like Baz and Pope, they're kind of the alphas in the group, in a group full of alphas. So it's gonna be interesting since Jay's a newcomer, how Baz and Pope's gonna deal and teach, Jay, because obviously they had different philosophies on how they go about shit. So after this, Jay's pissed. Jay goes over to his old apartment where him and his mom lives. He tries to find out who his father is. Doesn't find anything. And then he comes out, and the drug dealer dude is there. He's like, yo, where's the money? And then Jay, I believe the drug dealer guy points a gun at Jay. So Jay smacks the gun out the dude's hand, and then he punches the shit out of him. And then he picks up the gun and points it at the guy's throat and says, my mom is dead, you fucking asshole. She's dead because of your drugs. Then the guy's like, okay, bro, I'm sorry. I didn't know. And then Jay kind of punches him again. And then he goes off on his bike and literally rides throughout the entire, from the night to morning. He enters in the house. You see Craig literally having the wound on his shoulder being dealt with by Pope and Baz, like trying to cauterize it with the heat from fire. And then you have Darren crying like a little bitch, to Smurf saying, it's all my fault. I didn't mean for him to get hurt and all this stuff. And then you have Smurf doing like some motherly rhyme or sing or some shit for him. But Smurf notices Jay in the room. And then it's like Jay goes in his room. And then Jay's like, shit. Like the realization of like the realization of, fuck, what kind of family am I in? What kind of what kind of hell have I just entered? But that's all I have to say about this episode. Great episode. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you can. Write some comments down below. Subscribe to my channel. And once again, this is Josh Vision. And have an awesome night.